Hi everyone. This week we will see strings and file input output. My name is Dr. Mohammed Görec from Boğaziçi University Computer Engineering Department. By the end of this chapter, you will be able to learn or answer the following: the basics of Python strings and their key features, how to format, split, and join strings, how to search, replace, and modify text within strings, how to read from and write to text files, how to process file data and convert it into usable Python structures like lists or dictionaries. Strings are like list of characters. For given example, we can say we can define an variable like name, and it's equal to string Muhammad is my name. And if you remember from previous weeks, list was behaving like in the table. This part is indexes, and this part is our real values. And the index was starting from 0 and 1, 2, 3, and so on. If I try to see the first elements with the number of 0 as the index number, it will return m, and name1 will return u, and even we can slice our strings by using curly brackets and index numbers, so it will return the elements with index numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? Also, we can see the length of our variable by using comments. And if we want to print our characters or elements inside of name variable, we can use again for loop. To be able to see and better understand it, we can go to Anaconda. Let's say name equal to Muhammad, and I want to see the first element by using these curly brackets and 0. So it will return m, and if I want to make slicing, I should write the values, double column, and 5. So it's going to return the elements with the index numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 corresponds to Muhammad here. That it will return that one. So even I can use for loop by printing characters inside of list like this. Okay, let's continue from slides. If I want to change any elements inside of strings, like let's say, okay, change this character m because it is no index number 0, right? It's index number 0. So if I try to change it like in list operations, so it will give error because a string can be indexed like a list, but it can't be modified like a list, right? Don't forget this. Let's try together. So as you can see, it will give error. And we were using single quotation mark like this and double quotation marks to be able to define a string, right? And when we define a string using single quotes, we must use double quotes within the sentence. Similarly, when we use double quotes, we must use single quotes within the sentence. It means, if you want to define a string by starting double quotation marks, and if you need to add one more quotation inside of the string, I strongly suggest you to use other quotation mark. It means if you start with double quotation, please this time use single one, right? Likewise, if you start with single quotation mark to define your string, and if you need one more quotation inside of this string here, this time use double quotation mark. But still, Now, if we still want to use only one type of quotation, we can use slash. Let's say, okay, here we are defining one string and we start with double quotation mark and end with double quotation mark, right? And still, if we want to put one more quotation inside of this string, and if you want to use again double quotation mark, this time you have to use slash. If we go to Anaconda to see it, okay, let's say I'm defining a string by using double quotation mark, and still I want to put one more string inside it. I will use no single quotation mark this time. As you can see, it's working like this. And if I want to use single quotation mark and I want to use one more string inside of this time I will use double quotation mark, right? But again, if you want to use just only double quotation mark, you can use by putting slash. Okay. And also, we can use slash to split sentences that we think will not fit on one line. So if it is so long, I mean your strings, then you can use slash after your quotation mark and start second string again by using quotation mark. Let's go to Anaconda to see how it works. Okay, let's say we have this sentence like this. It's so long, right? I mean, if I put in one line, it will go a little bit far. So I make it split by using slash. It's working like this, as you can see. Also in string, we have line break. It is now slash n and tab characters slash t. We can use slash n for new line and slash t for tab, right? So as an example, I put here slash t, so it will know. It will make a space, big space, between one and artificial. And I put slash n here just before the number second line here. So it will give a line. It will make new line, and this part will start in the second line. This part will start in the third line like this. Let's go to Anaconda again. As you can see, it is same example. I didn't change anything. If I run it, we will see no big space here between the numbers and our strings because we put slash t, slash t, slash t, right? Also, our second strings and third strings and fourth strings will be start in the new line like this, because we put slash n. And the format comments is used in Python to insert specified values into placeholders within a string, allowing you to create clear and dynamic text outputs. Let's say we define here meeting time as a 9:30. As you can see, it is string format, single quotation mark. And if I want to print the meeting starts at, and we are putting format curly brackets, and I give these numbers, index numbers, something like index numbers, and that formats our variable here. If if I want to give more complex example, as you can see here, before starting, let's check this format section here. We have 1, 2, and 3 different type of variables. That one is float, that one is integer, that one is string, right? So the index numbers start again from 0, float has index number as a 0, integer has index number as a 1, and string has index number as a 2 here. So if I want to call inside of string these variables, I should use curly brackets and their index numbers. If I put here 0, it will call 2.5 inside of string. Again, if I put curly brackets 1 and if I call it in my string, it will return 12 and 3 dots, so 12,000. Likewise, in the last example, if I put curly brackets and 2, and if I put it inside of my string, it will return Michael like this. So here, as you can see, we are calling the element with index number 2. So it is Michael or Michelle, sorry for pronunciation. Then if I put 1, it will return 12,000 and so on. Let's go to Anaconda and see how it works. Okay, here we go. First of all, we define meeting time variable like 9:30 here, and I put it in format, and its index number is 0. So if I put 0 here with curly brackets, it will return the meeting starts at 9:30. Clear, right? And again, same example in slide, our format section here, and 2.5, 12,000, and Michelle here. It's starting with 0, 1, and 2 index numbers. If I call the index number 2, it's gonna return Michelle here, and for 1, it will return 12,000, and for 0, it will return 2.5. And likewise, in Python, we use this we use these functions before several times from previous weeks. If you remember, we were using upper to change all letters inside of our strings to capital, like Muhammad with capital letters. In the opposite side, if we use lower, it's gonna change all capital letters inside of my string with capitals, sorry, with smalls like this. If we go to Anaconda again and run these functions, you can see how it works. And also we have find comments in strings. If I write a string here and dot find and put one elements, characters or letters, it's gonna return its index number. And if I put more than one characters here, it's gonna return first index number about this sentence or letters. For example, here it is college, so the first letter is G. So it's gonna start from here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there's a space. It's 8, and it's gonna return 9. Let's see on Anaconda. Okay, that one was okay. I put age here, so it's gonna return 0, 1, 2, right? Second element. But what if I put long sentence like, okay, let me write my name. So as you can see, it returns 9 here. Also, we have more functions like ends with, starts with, and ends with, right? So it is only checking if it is ends or if it ends with done, D-O-N here. If it is, it will return true, otherwise it will return false. Again, starts with same logic. It will check if it is starting with man like this, then it will return true. And again, one more example for ends with comments. As it's not as it is not ending with city, it's gonna return false here. Okay, also we have split, join, replace, and strip comments in string in Python. Let me before okay, let me explain this. What is these comments? What are they are doing? What they're doing? Splits a string into a list of words or parts based on a specified separator. So it's gonna split our string and it will change and convert it to a list like this. And join function. Before starting join, also I should give this example here. If I put semicolon in split function, it's gonna split our string, as a semicolon like this. It will make list, make this like this. I mean, just one list, but it will separate it by using a semicolon. So it will create a list with strings elements. All of them is strings, right? And if we go to joins the elements of a list into a single string using a specified separator. So if I put here add symbol, and if I say, okay, join Mohammed Gölej is my mail address to different strings inside of a list. So it's gonna combine them by using add symbol here, right? And replace function replaces all occurrences of a substring with another substring, a string, right? So if I define a variable here, white horse parens like this, and as you can see, there are spaces between our strings, our words here. So if I say, okay, a dot replace spaces with underscore, so it's gonna add underscores in every spaces here, right? Okay, so in the last function strip removes leading and trailing spaces or specified characters from a string. So as you can see, I define my name by using big no space here, big tab here. Then if I say a dot strip, it's gonna remove this space and it will again define the string as it is. Let's go to Anaconda and see how it works again. Okay, as you can see, split create a list by separate our strings using spaces between the words. Likewise, again, if I specified a character like double column here, so it's gonna separate our strings by checking semicolons and create a list. Again, join here. If I put add, it's gonna put between these two strings add symbol here and create one string. Again, white horse parens. I say okay, instead of space, please use underscore and create our new string here. Okay, let's say let's have this example here. I'm asking user to give his name. I will put no big space here. And as you can see, it defines my name by using big space. And if I put okay a dot strip, it's gonna remove this big space and define our string as a normal standard here. Okay, we saw all of them. And we have is numeric function here. It is for checking our strings characters if they are numeric or string or float, something like this. If I check that one, it's gonna return false. If I check that one by using is numeric, it's gonna return true because it is only numeric characters. If I check that one, it's gonna again return false because it's mixed type, string and integers. And we can give this good example from previous weeks, and we can check it together. Same examples again. I define one, two, three different variables, and I'm checking them step by step. Okay, let's check the first variable if it is numeric or not. So it's gonna return false as it only it has only string values, and that one return true because it has only integer values. Again, that one return false because it's mixed. So just only if your variable has numbers, it's gonna return true, right? So let's continue with one more example. Likewise, this table, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different attributes and 1, 2, 3, 4 elements inside of our list. So I'm defining here, first of all, my list. You can check with this table. Then I'm asking user, could you please write or input the book number? So depends on your input. I'm gonna return all information about this book. Let's say if I put here 10001, it's gonna return class security essential book information here, as you can see, $45. But if I put, for example, A, it is not integer, right? So it's gonna return book number must consist of numeric characters. So to be able to check your input is number or not number, we are gonna use is numeric function here, as you can see here, right? If it is not, it will come to this loop here. It's else as condition. So it's gonna return book number must consist of numeric characters. So if I put Q, it's gonna terminate. Okay, now we can continue with input output comments here. Data stored in program variables is lost once the program ends, so files are needed for long-term data storage. Files allow saving data permanently on storage devices like hard drives, unlike your temporary memory. And programs can write data to files for later use and read stored data back into memory when needed. The most common file type used for input-output in Python is the text file, which stores readable characters and lines of text. Text files usually have the .txt extension and can be created or opened using simple editors such as Notepad on Windows. And before starting our example here, I would like to ask you to open a txt file. It is poem.txt, and copy and paste these lines, if you can see, and I save it. Then we are gonna open this txt file by using this command open and your pet address. Be sure you are writing that one as a correctly where you saved your file. And this time we will use read mode. I'm gonna explain all modes a little bit later. We will see all of them. And to be able to read the first line from the file, it is that one here. We are gonna use read line command here, and we will appoint these variables, this sentence, to line variable, and we are gonna print it to screen. Let's go to Anaconda again. First of all, I will read and open text file by putting its correct path address here. and read mode. Then I'm going to use read line comments and appoint to the first line of the poem.txt file to line variable, and I'm going to print it to screen, as you can see here. And if we check the file data type, it will return us input output class as supposed to. And here line again, you can see, and slash n end of the sentence represents a new line escape character which marks the end of a line in text file. Each time the readline function is called, it reads the next line from the file until reaching to end. You can store the line content in a variable for later use, right? As you can see, if I run it one more time with comments, it will skip to second line this time here. It was when slash speaks, then it changed to in every brace, right? And the file.seek2 statement moves the file cursor to the second byte position from the beginning of the file, right? And it will start, it is cursor, it shows the current position. So if we check the second byte, it is here, right? 0, 1, and 2. So cursor will come here like this, and it will take rest of the strings here. Likewise here, you can see. And be careful about these rules when you open a file with open comment. Python allocates system resources to interact with the file. If you don't close it using file.close or the safer with statements, those resources stay in use, possibly causing data loss, buffering issues, or log the files. So always be careful about this rule. After every use, we put file.close and it just close. You can read the file and assign it to a variable, file open and that read. And if you put print file, it will print as it is. Also, file objects are iterable. Again, I read file by putting open and the path address, and I can print it to screen by using for loop. Okay, first of all, I will show you how we can read and print all together, all strings, and how we can use it for loop here. I will show it. And if you try to open a file that is not on your disk, it means if you didn't create before, it will give error. I didn't create a file like this in this path address, so it will return error, as you can see. And here we can see all modes, this part, like R, write, X, A, append, B, binary mode, T, text mode, and plus, it is reading and writing all together. And the open function takes a second argument that specifies how the file should be opened, right? We are going to use these modes here after open function inside as arguments. If no mode is provided, the file opened in text format and read-only mode by default. Okay, let's see all of them by using example. Okay, we are starting with R mode here. If the file exists, it is read, otherwise it gives error. Okay, it will give error because I didn't create a file in this path address like this example txt, so we will see error. And second mode is W, it is write. If the file doesn't exist, it creates it. If it does, it deletes the content and rewrites it, right? So if we create something like example.txt file here, and if you use W, it is gonna deletes all content inside of it and rewrites it. If you remember, it is my the current poem.txt file. If I run this, we will, because as it is, R mode, it will just read it and we will see all of them. And once we come to W, if the file doesn't exist, it will create it. But if it does, as you can see, we have this file here. So it will delete all content and rewrites it. So if I take this path address and run it, all lines inside of it just disappear and it changes it with no hello world. And X mode, it is just a create a comment. If the file already exists, it will throw an error. So I run it with X. This is that one. As I didn't have new file.txt in my desktop, so it is just a create comment and it will, okay, let's go to my desktop here. Let me close this and close this. As you can see here, okay, if I remove this, total remove one more time. I don't have any text file in my desktop. And if I run this by using X, so as you can see, it appears and created only if not exist. Right? It will put that one inside of it. And let's continue with the other one. It is appends. It means A mode. Okay, here. Appends to the end of the existing file. So example.txt, right? Let's check if I have that one or not here. As you can see, I don't have example.txt file here. Let's see what will happen if I run it. Okay, it will create a new file example and it will add something to the other line, next line. Appends to the end of the existing file. So if I open this file and write something like this, okay, Muhammad was here, and save it. Let's see what will change if I run it one more time. Let's open it. As you can see, it is now adding everything end of the string here. If I run it, it will add one more sentence just here, turtle, and run it one more for 50. It's going like this. I don't save it. Okay, let's try. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times. I run it. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right? It's clear. And the next command is, I'm in the mode RB, right? Opens the file in binary format, usually for images and sound. So I put here an image with .gpg format here, okay. And if I try to open it by using RB, we will see the binary format of the picture. And for RT, it is default mode for text files, usually not specified separately. Let's try it. Example RT, right? We had that one. It will take it as it is. And the last mode is R plus. Reading and writing are done at the same time. If I go here, again, I can read it, I can write it at the same time by using R plus. Okay, we saw all of the examples here. And data storage and databases. Using plain text files to store data is not an efficient or reliable method. Instead, database systems should be preferred for structured and persistent data storage. Python provides a special built-in module called shell, which allows you to store Python objects directly on disk as a simple database. However, in our lecture, we will see and focus on SQLite a lightweight database engine used by many programming languages. It is week 12 last week. SQLite is built into Python, fast, secure, and doesn't require any external setup. You can perform many database operations safely and efficiently using SQLite.